Welcome to our Tuesday, July 6th, 2021 meeting. A few housekeeping rules, please. We will hear 5 cases tonight. We will first have a staff report to summarize each case prior to any discussion the board members may have. We will then ask the applicant to step up to the podium to ask or answer any questions. We ask the applicant to begin by stating their name and address for the record, as these meetings are recorded. We will then ask for any public participation and again ask any participant to begin by stating their name and address. Please remember the topic of discussion needs to remain pertinent to the case being heard. The purpose of the Planning and Zoning Board is to hear the cases and make recommendations to the Clay County Commission. The Commission will review and decide the cases heard tonight on July 22nd, 2021 at 10 a.m. in this room. Could we begin tonight with a roll call of attendance, please?
Yes, Chairman. Terry Griffin.
Present.
David Rodas.
Present.
Chris Higgins.
Present.
Brad Scarlett.
Present.
Marvin Davis. And Chairman Tom Decker.
Present. Then I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of our June 1st, 2021 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Very well. Do I have a second?
Second.
Very well. Can I have a roll call vote?
Chris Higgins.
Approved.
Brad Scarlett.
Approved.
Terry Griffin.
Approve.
David Rodas.
Approved.
Chairman Tom Decker.
Approve.
Motion carries.
First case we'll hear
Chairman,
tonight.
Chairman, I want to abstain from the first 3 cases since I'm some way involved in the next 3 cases.
Very well. Thank you, Chris. The first case we'll hear tonight is case number July 21-127 RZ/P. Could we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Chairman. We'd like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
So this is a rezoning preliminary plat for the Barnyard 2. Got it pulled up on the screen. It's outlined in the yellow. I'll zoom into it here in a minute. But this is Francis Road that runs just to the east and is the frontage for this property. This is 92 Highway to the south. This is the Ectonville gas station over in this area. Everybody knows where that is. And then this area probably looks familiar to the commission because we have, this was the proposed RV storage facility that was denied at one time. And then we subdivided it a year or 2 later. And then we've also subdivided this land that's just south of the property that we're talking about today. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit and show you the 3 lots. So it does say lot 4, 5, and 6, but it is a 3-lot subdivision. Rezoning for 2 of the lots. We're doing something very similar to what we did just to the south. There's a 5-acre lot, lot number 5, roughly 11-acre lot, lot number 4, and then a 20-acre lot that would stay zoned agricultural in the back. Without having frontage, this would be served by a 60-foot ingress-egress easement along the south of lot 5. We're talking about 1 new house per lot. The 5-acre lot would get zoned to residential ranchette or R5 zoning, as that's our current zoning for lots that are between 5 and 10 acres. The 11-acre lot gets zoned to R1, residential rural, because that's our current standard for 10 to 20 acres. And then, as I stated, the back lot is big enough to meet the 20-acre minimum and stay zoned agricultural. The 2 front lots would have agricultural land preservations, mostly around the ponds. That area is set aside where a house or accessory building could not be built. I'm going to pull up the staff report. So this property is located in the natural resources tier and the Smithville Lake watershed. The natural resources tier allows a 5+ acre lot as long as you do the agricultural land preservation. Each of the lots is greater than 5 acres. So staff believes that the comprehensive plan is met with that 5-acre minimum with the agricultural land preservation, And as I stated, the large lot in the back meets the minimum for the 20-acre ag zone lot. This case was noticed in the Courier Tribune, and adjacent property owners were sent certified letters. There are 5 rezoning criteria, which the review and decision-making body should consider these 5 standards with any rezoning case. The applicant did receive all of their outside agency approvals, including from the Highway Department, the Water District, and the Public Health Center for the septic systems. As I showed on the aerial, there's multiple ponds on this property. The ponds were inspected by NRCS. The report stated that all ponds are Class A, which is low hazard, but they put a note on there that they encouraged our department to be aware of potential downstream development, and this may deserve future study. To me, with putting 1 house per lot, that's not going to be in a whole lot of additional runoff, but we wanted to include that in the staff report. But I think staff's opinion is that this does not meet the criteria for a stormwater study. There is a blue line stream that runs through these ponds, and there's a 75-foot setback that will be noted on the plat. The applicant has indicated that he is going to do some drainage work along in this area of the ponds, and maybe Mr. Higgins can provide a little more information on that. And in a perfect world, we would have pond maintenance agreements, because you see we have a property line going through several of these ponds. This property to the south is not part of our case today, so I don't think staff can require that there be pond maintenance agreements. But in a perfect world, we would have an agreement between the 2 property owners when that pond crosses the property lines. We did not put that as a condition for this report. Staff is recommending approval of the rezoning and preliminary plat with 3 conditions, which is a shared driveway agreement, and then some changes to the recording copy of the final plat. One of those changes is changing the name of the subdivision. The reason for that is it's currently titled the Barnyard 2, which the lot to the south was the barnyard. We thought that may create some confusion, like this was a planned development or they were developed together. So that's why we're requesting that condition. And then also some minor changes to the recording copy of the plats. Debbie and I would be happy to answer any questions the commissioners may have.
All right, thank you, Kip. Do any of the board members have any questions for staff? All right, would the applicant step up to the podium, state your name and address, please?
Chris Higgins, 16311 North Hardesty, Smith Mills, Missouri. I'm part owner of the company here, CLH Development, who owns the property here. So that's why I recused myself from the meeting here, our discussions. But we are looking at, in fact, I met the contractors out there today again along the south border. Kip was talking about a couple of ponds there and whatnot. They need to be worked on a little bit. So these ponds don't have any tubes in them, so we are putting tubes in ponds and or creating a better spillway system to help the runoff there. They're old agricultural ponds. They're sound. I mean, they've been there for years. There isn't any problems, but I just want to make sure that there's not going to be any future problems going forward. Other than that, if you guys have any other questions for me.
Yep, do you understand and agree with the staff's report and the conditions they're attaching to the approval?
I do.
Okay. Do any board members have questions for the applicant?
Yes, on the drainage that you're going to improve there in that 60-foot ingress egress, is that drainage going to run towards the road or is it going to run back into the ponds?
It's going to go, they're all going to drain back into the ponds,
Okay, thank
going
you.
downstream. So it's the same way it's going right now. It's just we're going to make them better than what they were.
Okay.
So
All right. Does anyone else have a question for the applicant? All right, thank you, Mr. Higgins. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on the case being heard? With no further discussion, I would call for a motion for the approval of the rezoning of the Barnyard 2. Can I have a motion for approval, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the rezoning.
Very well, do you have a second?
Second.
Very well, can I have a roll call vote?
David Rotis,
Approved.
Brad Scarlett,
Approve.
Terry Griffin,
Approve.
and Chairman Tom Decker.
Approved.
Motion carries.
Then we'll move right into the preliminary plat. I would call for a motion for approval of the preliminary plat of Barnyard 2 with the conditions set out in Exhibit A attached to the motion. To have a motion for approval, please.
I'll make a motion to approve with the conditions set forth in Exhibit A.
Very well, do you have a second?
Second.
Very well, do you have a roll call vote?
David Rotis,
Approve with conditions.
Brad Scarlett,
Approve with conditions.
Terry Griffin,
Approve with conditions.
and Chairman Tom Decker.
Approve with conditions.
Motion carries.
The next case that we will hear this evening is case number July 21-128F. If we could have a staff report, please.
Yes, Chairman, would like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
So this is the final plat for the Barnyard 2. Final plats are handled by Section 151-3.6D of the Land Development Code. And based on all the materials and evidence presented, this request appears to comply with the Land Development Code and preliminary plat. The plat matches what was presented with the preliminary. Staff is recommending approval with the same conditions in Exhibit A, and I would be happy to answer any questions that the commissioners may have.
All right. Thank you, Kip. Any of the board members have questions for staff? Okay, would the applicant please step up to the podium and state your name and address?
Chris Higgins, 16311 North Hardesty, Smithville, Missouri.
All right. And Mr. Higgins, do you understand and agree with the staff's report?
Yes.
And do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Does anyone on the board have questions for Mr. Higgins? Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on the case being heard? With no further discussion, I would call for a motion to approve the final plat of Barnyard 2 with the conditions attached set forth in Exhibit A.
Motion to approve with conditions set Exhibit A.
Very well, do you have a second?
Second.
Very well, do you have a roll call vote?
David Rotis,
Approve conditions.
Brad Scarlett,
Approve with conditions.
Terry Griffin,
Approve with conditions.
Chairman Tom Decker.
Approve with conditions.
Motion carries.
The third case we'll hear this evening is case number July 21-129RZ/F. And can we have a staff's report?
Yes, Chairman, would like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
Okay, so this is a rezoning and final plat for a replat of Lot 6, Apex Acres. So this one will probably look familiar to the commission as well. So this came in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission, I believe it was November of last year. It was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission with a vote of 4 to 0 to 1. Again, Mr. Higgins we had one abstention, actually. I don't remember why that abstention. Actually, it was Mr. Higgins because he was helping the property owner subdivide this land. So there were 4 yes votes and 1 abstention. This proposal in front of you today is the exact same proposal. This case was denied by the county commission, and the applicant waited the required 6 months to reapply. We're doing something very similar to what we just talked about in the first case. We have a 5-acre lot. It's labeled as Lot 6A here in purple, roughly 11-acre lot labeled as 6B, and then a 20-acre plus lot in the back that's served by 60-foot ingress-egress easement right out here by the street. This yellow portion actually is a part of the back lot, but it stops short of the road frontage. This is along Quinn Road. I'll zoom out a little bit more to give you an idea of the surrounding area. It is a replat because it was originally platted as part of Apex Acres. Here's Smithville Lake, kind of to the northwest, and 168th Street to the south. So the proposal is to divide this one roughly 36 acres lot into 3 lots. We do the R5 zoning again for the 5-acre lot, the R1 residential rural for the 10-acre lot, and then the ag zoning in back. Same thing as with the previous case. We have some agricultural land preservation in the back of these two smaller lots. It's located in the natural resources tier, which allows a 5+ acre lot. We are putting a 15-foot recreational easement along the frontage as identified by the Northland Trails Vision Plan. Staff believes this complies with the Land Development Code and the Comp Plan. This case was also public noticed in the Courier Tribune, and adjacent property owners were sent certified letters. It has the same 5 rezoning criteria which review and decision-making bodies should consider, and those are on page 5 of the staff report. The applicant has received all their outside agency approvals, including approvals from the Highway Department, the Water District, and the Health Center. Since this case was so recent, we reached out to the Public Health Center on the septics, and they verified that the original approval from the first case was still valid. The ponds have been inspected, and they're both classified as low-hazard ponds in good condition. As part of the first case, we did receive some opposition from at least 1 or 2 property owners in the area. At this point, we have not received opposition to the current case. There was some discussion about some stormwater because the water flows kind of as in the previous case, it flows from I believe from the north to the south. So we added a little bit in the staff report about drainage and what could be done for the stormwater. But again, staff doesn't believe that, lots of this size with 1 house per lot meet the requirement to do a stormwater or drainage study. There were also discussions at the last time this came in front of the commission about HOA or covenants, and we just wanted to make it clear that planning and zoning staff does not enforce HOA or covenants for a particular subdivision. The 60-foot ingress-egress easement is on the north side, and there is a pipeline. You can see this line right here on the map. This is the pipeline easement that just barely touches that 60-foot. So you'll notice that there is a condition that we need confirmation from that pipeline that 60-foot ingress-egress can be placed. They are basically doing a study of that and would get back to us. I don't think it's going to be an issue because I think there's plenty of room within that 60 feet to get that access. Staff is recommending approval with the 4 conditions that you can see in Exhibit A, and Debbie and I would be happy to answer any questions the commissioners may have.
All right, thank you, Kip. Any board members have questions for staff? All right, would the applicant please step up to the podium, state your name and address?
Chris Higgins, 16311 North Hardesty, Smithville, Missouri.
All right. And Mr. Higgins, do you understand and agree with the staff's report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any board members have any questions for the applicant?
I will add that we did on the easement there, originally I think we only had a 15-foot utility easement on that north side, and we moved it out to the full 60 feet just so we didn't have any problem with the gas line there.
Was that for the driveway easement?
It would be for driveway easement. Currently, the applicants or the owners have since moved to Arizona. We have rented the house out to the potential buyers. Their parents are looking to buy the property in back. They would not put that driveway in. My understanding is that they're buying the property and going to give it to the kids. But, so I don't think that driveway will be put in anytime soon.
Okay. All right. Very well, thank you, Mr. Higgins. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on the case being heard? Well, with no further discussion, I would call for a motion to approve the rezoning and final plat of the replat of Lot 6 Apex Acres with the conditions in Exhibit A.
And just to be clear, Chairman, let's do a rezoning vote first, and then we'll do a final.
All right, very well. I'll rescind my request if we could have a motion of approval for the rezoning of the replat of Lot 6 Apex Acres.
Make a motion for rezoning. Approve.
Very well, do we have a second?
Second.
Very well, can you have a roll call vote?
David Rotis,
Approve.
Brad Scarlett,
Approve.
Terry Griffin,
Approve.
Chairman Tom Decker.
Approve.
Motion carries.
All right, we'll roll right into final plat. I would call for a motion of approval of the final plat of the replat of Lot 6 Apex Acres with the conditions set forth in Exhibit A attached to the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve final plat with conditions set forth in Exhibit A.
Very well, do you have a second?
Second.
Very well, do you have a roll call vote?
David Rotis,
Approve conditions.
Brad Scarlett,
Approve with conditions.
Terry Griffin,
Approve with conditions.
Chairman Tom Decker.
Approve with conditions.
Motion carries.
The fourth case we'll hear this evening is case number July 21-130 RZ/P. And could we have a staff's report?
Yes, Chairman, would like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
Okay, so got this one pulled up on the screen too. This is a rezoning preliminary and final plat request for Lillian's Landing. It's approximately 18 acres. It's outlined in the yellow here. I want to give you a general vicinity. So we've got I-35 to the west. This is 33 Highway to the east. This is the Clay County Highway Department. And if I go out a little bit more, you'll see this is the Prairie Field new subdivision, and this is Private Gardens. So that's the general area. This sits on 116th Street at Nation Road. So Nation Road is the north to south street. And the request is to take this 18 acres and divide it into 4 lots. There would be 2 5-acre lots on the north side. Lot number 4, which has the existing home, is approximately 3.8 acres. And then lot 3 with the pond is approximately 4.2 acres. So this falls within the urban services tier of the county. This is generally the area that are closest to the cities. The urban services tier requires a 10-plus acre lot for subdivisions. Now, we're going to talk about that in a little more detail. This property is also, and I'll zoom out again, is also within the 1 mile radius with the city of Liberty. So let my map catch up here. So Liberty is just to the south. Here's 69 Highway 33. This is that mobile home park right at the edge of Liberty, and here's the subject property. So definitely within the 1 mile city of Liberty. Now, comprehensive plan, when the comp plan was adopted, there was basically put a 20-acre minimum throughout the county. But if I go to the staff report, there were exemptions or exceptions that were granted depending on which tier of the county you were in. So this table that's on page, I think it's page 4 of the staff report, lists the 3 tiers, And this is the table that gives exceptions or exemptions from that 20-acre minimum. So we're in the urban services tier. The first exemption is a subdivision of land of 10-plus acres, as long as we do a shadow plat, which we hardly ever do, or an agricultural land preservation, which is what we generally do. Obviously, with 18 acres, we can't split this into two 10-acre lots with the ALP. The other exception is if it's within a mile of a city, that city within 1 mile may review and recommend exceptions with city's issues addressed. So in this case, it's with the City of Liberty. The City of Liberty is a little bit unique because their comprehensive plan does not address areas that are outside city limits. Typically, a city addresses areas that it wants to annex or could possibly annex in the future. And we have had cases where Kearney or Kansas City have given us some details as to what lot size they want to see in that area. In this case, the City of Liberty responded that they have no comments or concerns with this case. So from staff's point of view, we don't think that meets the requirement of the city recommending exceptions. And then after this report was written, the city came back even further and said their position is that we defer to the county rules and regulations if we do not have an opinion. And to me, the county's rules say 10-plus acres. Now, there's an exception to every rule. We have had some subdivisions that haven't met the 10-acre minimum in the past. And one of the things that we look at is what is the surrounding area like. So if I zoom in here a little bit, we're going to talk about some of the lot sizes that exist in that area, because there are some smaller lots. Let my map catch up here again. So if I identify on some of these lots, especially on the south side, so that's a 5.4 acre lot. That's a bigger one. Then there's another 5.4 acre lot, 5.6, 5.8. I think there's even a smaller one over here. This one's closer to 3 acres right across the street. I'm not sure what's going on with this here. This shows another 3 acre lot and then a super tiny 1 acre lot here. Those possibly, especially the 1 acre lot, were done years and years ago. I'd have to research that, but the map is showing that separated. So there is some, matching the surrounding areas in this case with what the applicant is proposing. So they're definitely not the only 3 to 5 acre lots in the area. This case was also noticed in the Courier Tribune, and adjacent property owners were sent certified letters. It has the same 5 rezoning criteria, and let me pull up the staff report again because I want to show these. Same 5 rezoning criteria which review and decision-making bodies should consider, and we'll talk about this when we talk about what our recommendation is, but number 2 here talks about whether or not the proposed amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the stated purpose and intent of section 151-1.7. So this is the one that staff got hung up on, because to us, the comp plan is telling us we need to do 10-plus acres in that area. The applicant did receive all their outside agency approvals, including highway. Now, the highway has asked that, if approved, the driveway tubes need to be cleared before recording of the final plat. We added that as a condition. They got their approval from the Water District and the Health Department. I'm going to show you the existing house, if I can zoom in, because this is a little bit unique as well. So this is the lot that has the existing house. This is the setback line. So technically it sits within the 35-foot setback, but there is an exemption in the Land Development Code that allows the house to be closer to the front property line if the reason is that we're dedicating right-of-way. So the property line used to go to the center line of the street, but with the platting, we're going to dedicate some right-of-way, which is 30 feet in this case, which makes the house too close to the property line. The Land Development Code tells us that that's okay as long as they meet 50% of their setback. In this case, they do meet 50% of their setback, so they do not need a variance. So that's a little bit unique on this case. Has a couple ponds on it that were inspected by NRCS and determined to be good wildlife ponds. Zoning-wise, Lot 1 and 2 would be R5 residential ranchette, because that's our current zoning for lots that are 5 to 10 acres. And then we don't see a whole lot of RU80 zoning, but Lot 3 and 4 would be zoned RU80, which is our current zoning for lots that are between 1.8 and 5 acres. Really, the biggest difference between RU80 and R5 are the R5 lots allow medium and large animals. I don't believe the RU80 zoning will allow that. So staff is recommending denial for this case due to, we believe, lack of compliance with the rezoning criteria, specifically lack of compliance with the comprehensive plan. However, if Planning and Zoning Commission votes to approve, staff recommends approving with the one condition, which is the clearing of the driveway tubes before recording of the final plat. So I know that's a lot of information really quick. I'd be happy to answer any questions. So with Debbie, the applicant is present as well. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Kip. I would have one question. I'd like to think that the applicant was aware of the urban services tier and the 10-acre minimum lot size prior to his application being filed for the 3, 4, 2 5-acre lots.
Yeah, so I don't want to speak for the applicant, but I think we've been very clear from the start that this, what the county's rules and regulations were.
Okay. And could you said you got a letter back from Liberty, and what's the, summarize it?
So we had 2 responses from Liberty. The first one was initially no comments or concerns. And then the second one was that if, basically I took this as in future cases, this case and future cases, if the City of Liberty does not have a comment, then they would defer to the county's rules and regulations.
Okay. All right, thank you. Does any board members have questions for staff? Would the applicant please step up to the podium, state your name and address?
Yes, Luke Owen, and I'm at 637 Northeast 100th Street, Kansas City.
All right. And Mr. Owen, do you understand the staff's report? And do you agree with the staff's report?
I understand the staff's report. I do not agree with it.
Okay. Well, you've got the floor.
Okay, it's an amicable disagreement, but it is. I have
enough.
copies here.
And we'll, for the official record, we'll have these be Exhibit B, if that's acceptable.
Sure.
I do want to thank Kip and Debbie for taking some extra time to look up all of the options there are on this land. This is unique because it is within that 1 mile of Liberty, and in this larger 11 by 17 copy here, I walked all the way down 116th Street, basically from the western edge near I-35 Service Road, and I stopped at the eastern edge of the Clay County Highway Department. That lines up almost directly north of that northeast corner of the Liberty city limits. So just looking at this area along 116th Street is the area that is causing the concerns from the back and forth, in my opinion, between Liberty and Clay County. Liberty's comment was, we don't have anything negative to say about it. but we don't have anything positive to say about it because it's not our jurisdiction. And so when I look at this, and this is based off of the Clay County GIS mapping, if you click on each of these properties, it tells you the exact number of acres on each property. And the part that I don't agree with on the staff report is that the 10-acre is required on this. If you go down the street, only 9 out of 31 properties meet 10 acres. So 68% of the street is non-compliant with the 10-acre rule of the zoning. If you look at the adjacent properties, the one directly north of it, 11808 Nation Road, is 4.88 acres. It is less than 5 acres. The property straight to the south of it, 15221 Northeast 116th, is 3.08 acres. And there is that odd property straight east of it that is 15600 Northeast 116th, also 3 acres. Looking down the street, there's one less of the orange properties there. These are all less than 5 acres. The red ones are the adjacent ones that are smaller than the acreage that I'm requesting to divide into. So looking at the street, 10 parcels are less than 5 acres. There's 3 adjacent properties to the property that I own that are less than 5 acres. There are 5 properties on this street that are less than our requested size on Lot 4. And based on how Lot 4 is laid out, the proposed Lot 4, where the house is positioned on that lot, allows it to have multiple septic locations. So the other 2 documents that I've provided are potential lot layouts for the proposed lots 3 and 4. Lot 4 is the easier one because that's the one that has the existing house on it. The existing house does not have a septic system to it, and the existing house is also incorrectly labeled as Northeast 116th Street when the driveway attaches to Nation Road. So that is a inconsistency that would get fixed with this replat here. That Lot 4 has 3 different options in those blue boxes for a 6,100 square foot septic field. I chose 6,100 square foot as my barometer there because that is the average size of the septic that we are seeing in 5-bedroom houses that we are constructing in the area. And so I've shown that there's 3 good spots for that. There's also a spot for a 40-foot by 60-foot outbuilding directly north of the house. So Lot 4, even though it is only 3.88 acres, would be compliant with a single-family residence and outbuilding and multiple options for a septic field. The more challenging one is Lot 3, which also has multiple options for a septic field along the northern property line of it. It's a little bit hard to see just because of the lines on that size, but I pulled out a 82-foot wide home. I also the manager and founder at Owen Homes, and we build custom houses on acreage all over Platte Clay County. And so this is just one of the examples of houses that we are designing right now. It's a 2,100 square foot reverse ranch home, 3-car garage. It's about the typical of what we're seeing going up in unincorporated Clay County. There is distance off of the pond. There's distance off the property line. I drew on a 40 by 60 foot outbuilding. And then I went along the northern side there and used the Clay County Health Department's setbacks and easements on that blue dotted line there, and have shown that there are 3 options for a drip field that would accommodate the size of house that would typically go into these. We would typically stop these at 5-bedroom houses because the septic fields are a lot smaller on a 5-bedroom than a 6-bedroom. So on both of these lots, I've been able to show that there is a spot for a house, an outbuilding, and 3 options for septic field locations on it. So I guess my response to the staff report is I can understand the compliance with it, but that the rejection, in my understanding, came back because Liberty wasn't in favor of it, Liberty was neutral. And that we've shown that we meet the precedent that's already established on the street. Most of the houses on the street do not comply with the comprehensive plan, and it is possible to get these in here. I asked Clay County Highway Department for their opinion on improving Nation Road. They replied back that due to the low traffic count on Nation Road, they have no plans to improve it because the cost to maintain it would be prohibitive due to the low traffic count. They do a traffic study every 5 years. For 116th Street, they had 139 was their daily count in 2010. They had 109 in 2015. And in 2020, their average daily traffic count was only 111. And then on Nation Road, the traffic count was 57 average daily in 2010, 25 average daily in 2015, and 34 average daily in 2020. There's not much traffic there. Part of the issue is there is a railroad crossing to the east of that down the street, and there's a gravel service road to the west of it. So the reason we were asking for the fourth lot was to keep the lot sizes smaller, allow people to build a house on each lot. We don't really feel like there's a significant advantage to having an R5 or an RU80. And if anything, it limits the ability for large livestock to be positioned on 116th Street on the corner there. So for those reasons, we don't feel like it is a detriment to the properties nearby, and it also complies with the sizes of them.
All right, Mr. Owen, does any of the board members have questions for Mr. Owen? All right, thank you, sir. Kip, could you expand on how Mr. Owen's got a good point. We have multiple 3, 4, 5 acre tracts along the 116 corridor. Is there, can you expand on that or how that came to pass?
Yeah, so the previous land development code and comp plan allowed for, my understanding is it allowed for 3+ acre lots, mainly throughout the county. That's why you see a lot of 3 acre lots scattered throughout. So I don't think it's, this one's a little bit different because it has a large amount of 5 acre lots, but I'm going to show you an area in Kearney of why I believe one of the reasons the county changed that. So if you see this area, this area along 33 Highway is surrounded by Kearney city limits. So anything in the gray is Kearney city limits. Anything that has color is unincorporated Clay County. You see the city of Kearney went around. These are predominantly 3 to 4 acre lots. I think that's River View, I think is what it's called. So to answer your question, the previous regulations allowed smaller lots. I think the reason the county went away from that is reasons like this, is the cities don't like those 3 acre lots. They either want something that's totally undeveloped or something that's fully developed. Now there has to be a transition area between the city and the county. That's kind of what the big question is all the time with all of our subdivisions is what's the perfect lot size? Is the city ever going to annex this in? Should we do 5 acre lots, 10 acre lots? But basically the county got rid of that 3 acre lot. Now, I'm not going to say that there's an exception to every single rule. So I'd have to look up each of these cases and see when they were subdivided. My guess is these 5 acre lots that are to the south and east were done under the previous regulations or quite a while ago because these are still zoned agricultural and that wouldn't be allowed now. These lots here are just a hair under 10 acres. So like I said, there's some plats do get approved, but generally it's closer to that 10 acre minimum than what a 3.8 and 4 acre lot is. I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay.
did you want to see if there's any opposition?
What's that?
Did you want to see if there's any opposition?
Yeah. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to comment on the case being heard? Yes. Okay. Yep. All right, state your name and address for the record, please.
Joanne Moore, 15622 Northeast 116th Street, Kearney, Missouri. So I currently live on the 80 acres that is right across Nation Road from those 4 lots. That land has been, or my grandfather lived on that land and has been on 116th Street. Lived on that for over 100 years. And so I think our main concern, I have several main concerns. My husband and I are obviously concerned that Liberty will try to annex us again, which we fought previously to make sure that that didn't happen, because then we lose a lot of our rights. And we want to stay in an agriculture area. So those 3 acre, the 1 acre, and the 76 acres is all one. We live, there's one house there, and so that really is all one lot. There's no other families, it's just my husband and I. We're also really concerned about the traffic, and I know 2020, that I don't feel like those are valid numbers. We were in a pandemic and most of us weren't driving. But the traffic in that area is really increasing, and so people are speeding up and down that road constantly, and this, you know, with 3-car garages, this could add an additional 12 cars that are traveling. Nation Road, like you mentioned, is gravel, and there is a lot of dust, and it is not maintained, and so also have a large concern about that. As well as the noise. And then just overall, we're losing a lot of agricultural ground, and I hate to see us lose even more to very small parcel sizes. So those are my concerns.
All right, thank you.
Hello, I'm Deborah Walters, 15625 Northeast 116th Street, Kearney. My biggest concern about this development is that Liberty will try to annex us. They've already tried that, and with more houses packed into smaller spaces, it'll probably be a shoo-in. We lived out there for 35 years. Got 5 kids, 11 grandkids. They like to burn and ride 4-wheelers and all that will be taken away. There would be no reason for us to stay there. The dust is a huge concern. They don't do anything with that road now, and they probably won't. Well, it sounds like they're not going to either. So that is a big deal to me. And also the traffic. You know, we already have people flying through there because they're going, kind of cutting through there, you know, from Edgar Petty Road, which is also dusty, you know, as mentioned. And I feel like it's really going to take the rural concept out. I mean, it doesn't go along with what's out there at all. And most people have lived out there. Well, we used to be McGinnis Road because of her grandparents that have owned and farmed and lived in that area forever, but then we had to be changed to 116th for the 911. We enjoy our rural area, and that's why we moved out there. And I feel like it would just be one more step to being annexed. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walters. I could certainly empathize with Mr. Owen on the 3 acre, 4 acre, 5 acre, 9 acre, but what was brought to the zoning board and approved by the zoning board 40 and 50 years ago is beyond our control. We do have the current land development code that, you know, in the urban services tier, it very clearly calls out 10 acre tracts. I don't know if you came, I think you got 18.26, if you came back with a pair of 9.13s, you know,
That's
I
what
will-
I was kind of looking at too, because you're losing, you probably got to figure he lost, you know, the rest of that going to the center of the highways back in the day, so there's setbacks, you know,
yeah,
it's probably a 20-acre tract at one time.
yeah.
I think the thing that I see, and I'm pro-development, so, as you all know, but, the thing is, we're not jumping one tier, we're jumping 2 tiers.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't allow anything below 5 acres in a county, even, you know, on that next tier. So, I mean, that's, like I say, I see where you're going with it, Tom, and I mean, I could almost even go for the 2 5s and leave the other one as 1, but it doesn't fall within our code. And I think, like you suggested, I mean, the two 9-acre lots would fit if you considered the setbacks from the highway, would give you the 10, which was what would be required, and I think we waived that before in the past. Yep, I don't know.
Yeah, there's been several times that I'm aware of that where it's, you know, between 9 and 10, and there's been a 10-acre minimum, and that's been approved.
Well, like Chris said, that'd be going to the center of Nations Road and the center of 116th Street, probably comes up to 20 acres, or awful close to it.
Yeah, so that's one of the bad things about having a corner lot is you lose a lot of area and right-of-way.
I just feel like we've got a land development code, and it's our job to uphold the rules and regulations that we abide by. You know, 9.13 acres, you know, I don't think I have a problem with that, but we've got, like Chris said, we're skipping 2 tiers. We've got one lot we're trying to approve that's just meeting 38% of the minimum size, you know. And I'm pro-build too, don't take me wrong. You know, I don't do residential, but
I can
know
tell you
where
right
it's
now,
coming
I
from.
wouldn't have any problem if you brought back 2 9-acre lots. I certainly wouldn't have a problem with that. I mean, that's, with the setback off the highway, I think we meet our criteria of the land development code at that point. I mean, it's close enough that I would vote for it at that point.
Well, do any of the board members have any comments, questions for staff? Mr. Rodas? Okay,
See what you guys see.
okay.
I will say that I don't think that what he's proposed as far as traffic doesn't have play any factor in this at all.
Yeah, I think if,
I mean,
and I'm
it's
gonna
such a
say the
minimal
traffic count,
Minimal
the
impact.
statistics that were supplied, I'd say were correct. And it's kind of funny how they're dropping off, you know, from 10 to 15 to 20. And even take COVID out of the picture, it's still dropping off. So,
I mean, if it was in another tier, you could easily get 3 lots in there and be above your 5 acres. But we're 2 tiers below that. And I mean, I think with the land development code setting a precedent, that's just a hard jump for me to go to. I'm sorry?
if you,
Yeah.
Mr. Owen, if you want to step up to the podium and comment, you're welcome to, please. Like state your name and address.
So what you're saying is lots 3 and 4 are the hang-up, not lots 1 and 2?
Yeah, I mean, even though 1 and 2 don't meet the criteria for that land preservation area, 3 and 4 really fall below it, you know, and so we're getting down, so you do build, you know, and you do have room, because a DNR, I think, requires a minimum of 3 acres to put septic field in, you know.
Right.
It doesn't leave you any room for air. If it fails, you gotta repit somewhere else, that causes a problem, but it's certainly sufficient by DNR standards. However, we're way below, like, we've jumped 2 tiers below where we need to be with the land development code on that particular area.
Okay. But on lots 1 and 2, because those are just going to R5, those don't present as much of
I mean,
a concern?
again, we're below the tier level. They're requiring 10 acres in this area,
Mhm.
which is the land development code states for your area here. And I'm in agreement probably with what Tom was talking about. These other smaller lots were done prior to our land development code being changed, and so they're grandfathered in. You know, me personally, I wouldn't have a problem with the 2 5-acre lots and having another one, but I don't think that doesn't meet codes, and again, or the land development code. So I'd have a tough time going against our land development code, but I see how that was appealing. It would be appealing to me, but I can't, you know, I feel for you on that side of it. But I think, in all honesty, I think if you brought it back with 2 9-acre lots, I don't think you'd have any problem.
Okay. Is there any consideration on lot size within the street?
What?
Is there any consideration of all of the lots that are on that street, in that almost 70% of them don't meet the 10-acre rule?
Well, and again, I'm guessing that the 10-acre rule is that they lost part of that with the setback from the highway off the road frontage, is why they're
Okay.
not quite 10 acres. If I had to guess.
You're talking about all the nines just to the west?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the not, well, more so from south of 116th, that Chandler Downs, those are all 5.6, 5.4.
Yeah.
Right.
Those
And
aren't
I-
even
and I-
close to
again,
10.
My guess is those were done before the land development code was changed to where it is today. And obviously, there's different parts of the county that require 5-acre lots or allow 5-acre lots. It just depends on what that tier level is, where it's laid out. And I think that's a discussion for, you know, the commissioners if they want to change the land development code. I don't know when the last time it was updated, but it's been recently, I think.
So it's a 2008 comp plan, which technically the lot size is in the comp plan, and the land development code's 2011, so they need to be revisited, you know, halfway soon.
So, I mean, it's something that could be discussed, I think, with your commissioners. But
Okay.
And I think one thing I want to point out is that we are an advisory board, and so we are tied to that. This is going to be heard by the county commissioners who have the ability to, whether we recommend approval or recommend disapproval, they have the ability to make their own decision. So we are merely giving them our recommendation based on the land development code, the comp plan. They are the ones that will make the decision.
I'm aware of that based on Chris's earlier presentation.
Well, we've approved cases that the commission's denied, and we've denied cases that the commission's approved, so, you know, it doesn't stop here tonight.
Yep.
it doesn't stop you from moving forward one way or another. You know, again, I'm happy to look at the land development code, and I don't think that this meets the criteria. However, I do believe that the 2 9-acre lots would be close enough, giving you consideration for the lot setback off the road on the corner lot, would indeed give you the matching the rest of what's on the street there. And I would pretty much guess it would get approved at that point. But I don't know where everybody stands right now, but I mean, that's just kind of what I'm saying. That's my opinion of what should probably be done. But again, the commissioner could have a whole different idea of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nolan. Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to comment on the case being heard? Does the board, any board members have any other questions for the applicant or for staff? Then I would call for a motion for the approval of the rezoning of Lillian's Landing as presented. If you have a motion, please. So, a little help from our staff. If we don't have the motion dies, where do we go from here?
I'll lean on Kevin if a motion is not made.
Well, I think we can make a motion to uphold the staff's decision to deny at the current plan. I would like to see the applicant bring it back at a revised plan, but at this point, I would have to deny it.
So you're making a motion for denial?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
And I'm sorry, who was the second?
Brad?
So motion is to deny, so a yes vote would be to deny.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, could we have a roll call vote?
Chris Higgins,
Yes.
Brad Scarlett,
Yes.
Terry Griffin,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
and Chairman Tom Decker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Would we still move on to the preliminary, or is it stop here since it's denied?
I'll lean on Kevin, but I would think we would still vote on the preliminary and final, correct? Because this is just an advisory board.
All right.
And preliminary was included in the report, so I don't need a new report.
Then I would call for a motion to deny the preliminary report or preliminary plat of Lillian's Landing, including the attachments of in Exhibit A attached. If we have a motion of denial,
And I think we can just not include the exhibit if the motion's going to be for denial.
very well.
I'll make the motion.
Very well. Do we have a second?
Second?
Very well. Do you have a roll call vote?
Chris Higgins,
Yes.
Brad Scarlett,
Yes.
Terry Griffin,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Chairman Tom Decker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Then we'd still move into the final plat?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. The last case that we'll hear this evening is case number July 21-131F. If we could have a staff's report, please.
Yes, Chairman, would like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
So section 151-3.6D of the Land Development Code deals with final plats. Based on all the materials and evidence presented, this request complies with the preliminary plat. Since it complies with the preliminary plat, staff is recommending denial. However, if the Planning and Zoning Commission votes to approve, there are a couple conditions in Exhibit A. Basically, this is just a continuation of the previous case, and I would be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
All right, thank you, Kip. Does any of the board members have any questions for staff? So be it. Would the applicant please step up to the podium, state your name and address?
Yes. Luke Owen, 637 Northeast 100th, Kansas City, Missouri.
Mr. Owens, you understand the,
I
you
understand.
disagree but
Yes,
but
sir.
you understand the staff report?
I do.
Do you have any questions for
No.
staff or board? All right, thank you, sir. Yep. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to comment on the case being heard? Okay. No further discussion. I would call for a motion to deny the final plat of Lillian's Landing. Could I have a motion, please,
I'll make the motion
to deny?
to deny.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Second?
Very well. Roll call vote.
Chris Higgins,
Yes.
Brad Scarlett,
Yes.
Terry Griffin,
Yes.
David Rotis,
Yes.
Chairman Tom Decker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, don't be
Might
dis-
reiterate the cases that were heard this evening will come before the Clay County Commission on July 22nd at 10 a.m. in this room. Okay. Do you have any other business?
The only update I have for the commission is both the exotic animal case and the maternity home are still being heard by county commission, so no decision has been made on those yet. All the, what I would consider routine cases, and I just can't remember what they are now, that went in front of Planning and Zoning Commission last month, those have all been approved by the county commission, and just waiting on the exotic animal and the maternity home. And then I also do want to mention that Debbie Brady has decided to retire, so I wanted to thank Debbie for her 25-ish years with the county. She's gonna be with us one more meeting, so we'll have her do a couple reports next month, and then she's leaving us. So thank you, Debbie.
We'll have to take a vote on approval or denial for that request, Debbie, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, if there's no other business, I would call for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
So be it. Do you have a second?
Second?
Roll call vote.
Approve?
Chris Higgins.
Approved.
Terry Griffin. David Rotis. Chairman Tom Becker.
Approved.
Motion carries.